Yeah, good evening. It's cold. Very cold. You walk from medical school to here?
Yeah. It's not that bad. It wasn't windy. This morning it was windy. It makes it a lot worse.
Oh, just there. Yeah. Second, third translator. Well, one day you have to also translate. Yeah. 당한도 좋아. 믿게. 또 믿게. 하는 산책이 때마다 자. 산책이 때마다. 믿게 원래. 하는 산책이 때마다 자.
So we've been born as humans and we've met with the Buddha's teaching.
아니, 근데 산책이 때마다 막 라테식이 그게다. 산책이 때마다 산책이 주마 라테다니. 라테. 나무에 teaching 마시기. 좋아. 산책이 주마 신이 게. Yes.
So also the teacher who teaches the teaching, we've also met.
Yeah, we also met.
So what were you saying?
Yeah.
You were saying something extra. Suddenly my voice got really loud. I'm nervous.
그래서 밑에 산책이 때마다 자. 아니 산책이 주 모태신 얘기하던데. Mutu is introduction.
Yeah. We've met the teacher who can introduce us to the Buddha's teaching.
Good. 그래서 당연히 가와상보시라 했어. 가와상보. So we are fortunate.
Kelba, like the Ian. It's a fortunate Ian.
Yeah. Fortunate Ian is called 가와상보. 유주상보.
Yeah, it's a fortunate time, fortunate period.
Yeah, fortunate time, fortunate period. 어떤지 뒤에 상보에 막 소소 쉬고 그랬어.
Due to Sambui?
Yeah. 만족 가와상보 메이바 하고 그랬어.
So Mayimba?
Yimba.
So we should understand that we exist at a good time.
Yeah, good time.
At an auspicious or fortunate time.
Yeah. We are a fortunate person. We are auspicious person.
So we should understand in general that the basis, being born as a human being, is incredibly difficult and difficult to find.
Yeah.
So particularly like finding a human life that's endowed with the the 8 comforts, 8 leisures, and the 10 endowments, it's exceedingly difficult to have those. So there are many examples of this in the Lamrim Chenmo kind of illustrations, like a turtle.
Yeah, turtle.
The turtle and the sesame seed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
What is a 가르치는 된지가 미디 나도 된지 미 가르치는 독과를 가오래서 why?
So why is it so difficult to get the opportunity to have this human life, this human body?
된지가 될라야 좀 남발 타바고 그래서 좀 남발 타바.
So pure, we need that.
Yeah,
because we need the pure, absolutely pure ethical discipline as a cause, right?
그러니까 다 만조 단단하고 사실은 만조 저도 다 뭔가 제가 점주도 봐. 아무튼 쉬우레스.
Kyamdro Domba. The vow?
Yeah, take it off his vow.
So, Tanda Mato Kyamdro Domba.
We really took. We have,
so
right?
Why do you force me to translate? You should make it easy for me. So we've already taken the vow of refuge at this time. And also we've taken the bodhisattva vows. And some of us, not all of us, but some of us have taken the tantric vows. And then some people have taken even the what's the Genyen? Upasika? Yeah, the lay person vows. Yeah.
Right?
There's also the ethical discipline of giving up the 10 non-virtues.
How much we can keep? How can we keep this all the vows?
That sounds great. It sounds perfect in English.
You sure?
So we should consider how much, to the degree to which we can observe all of those different vows that we've taken.
Yeah. Also, even we keeping the vows, also we don't know how many vows that count. We didn't identify each single vows, right? For example, bodhisattva vows, tantra vows, even we didn't count, difficult to find identify.
To identify each individual one,
yeah.
like so, yeah. Are you meaning like when you take, for example, the upasika, the lay vow?
Yeah, lay vow.
So sometimes we take those for like Nyungne or something, just one day or so. But then, do you mean like during the period when you have the vow to remember each one of them?
Usually we didn't take all the many different vows. I'm not talking about just people here. Usually for us, we taking a lot of vows, but even we didn't know identify each vows.
Didn't memorize.
Yeah.
Memorize. I understand.
Therefore, if we don't know the vows, how can we keep? Right? It's not. I'm not just talking about for us here. You know, I say I'm the full ordained monk. You know?
Yeah, the fully ordained monk. Yeah.
I have 253 vows.
So you have to remember all of those, right?
Okay. Now I say Pampashi. Pampashi.
Pampashi.
Yeah.
The Pampa?
Pampa means this. I don't know use this.
Pampa?
Anyway,
No, Pampa.
Pampa means lost.
Yeah. The Pampa.
At the root.
Yeah, the ones that you can't break, right?
Yeah. If you break, then you lost.
Then there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
If you break any of those 4, then you are out.
나도 Pampashi, Ramachosan. 4, 13, 30. Pampashi, Ramachosan. Pampashi, Ramachosan. I guess I took it not to get Pampashi, Ramachosan, 4, 13, 30. Pampashi, Ramachosan, 90.
90?
Yeah.
So that's 163.
And Yeje Jado Chuni, 102.
Yeah, Chuni.
Yeah.
So 112 after that.
Only that? Then
112 plus, what did I say?
More than
90?
200? More than 200?
Yeah, it's more than 200.
What happened?
That's a lot anyway.
Yeah. 4, 13, 30, 90, 112, now how many?
So 4, 13 is 53 plus 90. 4, 13, 30. 53 plus 30. So 4, 13, that's 17. Is it 13? Plus 17. So 4 plus 13 is 17, plus 30 is 47, plus 90 is 137, plus 112. So what's that? 249. 249. Soshashi, so there's 4 more. The Sososhakwa, the ones you can confess by yourself.
Like that, I just counted. Maybe like that, usually difficult. The other also, the legal. The Domba, the Domba Mamma, you have a song over this. The Zoe Sona, and then meet your lady.
So the root of attaining the human rebirth is actually the perfect observance of all of those vows, like that type of ethical discipline.
That demon has a magic. So, how much we can keep.
Okay. So then if in lieu of that, then there is also the ethical discipline of observing the giving up the 10 non-virtues, to the extent that you can. Right?
That's correct. Even if we just forgot that there's other vows, maybe Tantra vow or this other vow or the monks, or just forgot. Even just 10 non-virtues, how much we can keep. It's difficult, right? It's easy to maybe we can identify, not too difficult. But how we can keep. Then if whoever, in order to born the perfect human rebirth, the
ethical discipline.
Ethical is the main cost. That tell Robala, that tell Robachini and the person took me notice.
Yeah. So then, in addition to that, the kind of how could you say, the ancillary kind of conditions or helpers to the ethical discipline is the practice of the 6 perfections.
Okay. These are Jamba, and Shanam.
So then these are correct.
Shimba, generosity.
Generosity, ethical discipline, then Tsundu, effort, and then patience, and then meditation, and wisdom. Okay, so then in previous lives we certainly must have done this kind of discipline, right?
Yeah,
because that's why we have this life that we have now. So how will we get this life again in future lives? It depends on what we do now, right?
Right.
So since the conditions for achieving this human life are extremely difficult to produce, then we say that it's extremely difficult to find this type of human life. So, the teaching that he gave to us is the four truths. So there is nothing in the there is nothing that the Buddha told us to practice that isn't within the 4 truths? Is that what you want to say? Denpashi nane? Madhura, nothing that's not included in the 4 truths.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should really think about these 4 noble truths. It's quite important.
It's reality.
Sorry. So these 4 noble truths are actually accord with the nature of reality, like the way that things actually are. So if we understand the 4 noble truths really well, then we understand Buddhist teaching really well, or Buddhism.
그래서 덴바 시된 거 가기 나와야다. 레라오레스.
It's easy for us to just say the Four Noble Truths.
Yeah. 더 대자 다 가기 나와 주고 많이 봐. 내가 the meaning. That's some of
So we shouldn't just say the Four Noble Truths with our mouth, just repeating them over and over, but actually understand the meaning.
Yeah, that's correct. 그래서 딱 빼차셔 해 나왔어. 나도 내가 시세야 돼. 나도 미지가 나사지요나. 딱 때려 빼차 세 줘서. 나도 미 나도 이거 세. 대단 내가 시가 내선이 빼잖아. example. 빼나. 미치 나와 있나? 나사대 가원 용도. Where they come from? The sickness. Then do they have medicine? They give it. Then after medicine, got a net trauma. You're the yomaris. Petition can charge you nawa chick. Nasavi chick. Nasavi tawa ni. Member soon. Then it means the trauma the she or was in Minawina. Better than chick bodies.
Okay. So it's like he's doing half and half for you guys. You should get the other half. No, okay. So the Four Noble Truths, we can see an example, like similar to examples that we encounter in life, like sickness, for example. When you are sick, then the procedure for getting rid of the sickness is to identify the sickness, and then to determine whether or not the sickness can be cured, whether there's a cure or not, and then. Oh no, the cause was the second one, sorry. The sickness and then the cause of the sickness, right? The naza, the tango kari, naza?
Tango 가서 나가도 왔어. 다 빼차려, tango. So
then we were looking for the source of the sickness, like what's making you sick. And then the third one is whether or not you can cure the sickness, get rid of the thing that's making you sick. And the fourth one is the medicine that actually allows you to do that.
Is correct? This is reality, right? Not Buddha teaching too high that, just someone said. This is for our just every human beings to, how you call it?
Yeah, that's like the actual state that we are in, like how we deal with a problem like that is we try to identify what's wrong with us and then what's causing it, and then if we can get rid of it or not, and then applying the solution. So.
다 덴바 시대 싸우 사장 안에 단다 싸우 이렇게
싸우
안에 단다 제트 샤모고 야와 샤모고
잠보고
야 부다 무시야 아니 문도나 손에서 문도나 이 teacher them 문도야 아니 덴바시라야 시시 대지부터 주로.
Okay, so then these Four Noble Truths are exceedingly clear, and then later Maitreya, the future Buddha, he taught in the Abhisamaya Alamkara that each of these Four Noble Truths has 4 parts, so then there are actually 16 parts altogether to the Four Noble Truths.
어디서 근데 말이다 다 저도 망한 책에도 같이 신기했어. Most you understand, right? You really know.
What he said.
And the first he said, Duma Shibashas is you understand the suffering. Buddha teach for us. First you have to understand the suffering. This is example for we are sick. First we have got to find our sick. Maybe headache, maybe stomach ache, eat too much. Then first we have to find or feel the sick, right? Without feeling sick, then we cannot find the what cause or what I sick.
Dunga shibaja. Yeah, you have to know that you're sick.
Yeah, you know all this correct. That's correct, right? First we have to know what you're sick. And we have found that, right? Then Buddha said, first you have to know
you are sick.
You're sick. Then
yeah.
Duma Shibaja. You identify the suffering. identify all the suffering. It's good.
I think dunga shevarja just means know that you are sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are know the
Like if you, some people might be sick, but they might not know that they're sick. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
People have a high fever and
yeah.
don't realize they are sick, and it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah. Was it better was tough? Tambo dunga shizu samala ta dunga la jo du mundu check this.
So then you need to know if there is a cause of the suffering, whether there is or there isn't a cause of the suffering.
다 나도 나사 시네 나도 나와 다 거네 근데 맨가나 도네 다 나사 가래래샤 가와 나가도 깨가가 좀 답을 was.
So then we usually investigate, if we're sick, for example, we investigate the causes and conditions of that sickness, like what are the things that are making us sick.
그래서 대배치 다 되니 봐 너무 동아시 동아 하고 is identified and you have no suffering. 근데 동아 그 군주 방와샤스 군주
Kunjung Bawa.
방와샤스 방고레스
Bangwaja. Yeah, so then you need to pull out or get rid of the source of the suffering.
근데 그 군주사한테 수준나 마리파 미시바 마리파들이
Yeah, so the source of the suffering is actually maripa, ignorance.
나
ignorance or lack of knowledge.
야, 마리파로
Yeah.
마리파. 나도 누나 나도 medhe 맞춰서 마리페 오게 한 거였어. 마리파 나도 미시베 오기 나도 나 까네 먹어요.
Yeah, here's one of maripa
미시바나 마리파 치바르와.
Yeah.
마리파 미시바 치바르와. 미시베 왕기 나도 나 누나 마무 한 거예요.
Yeah. So basically, ignorance and like not knowing are the same thing. And under the influence of not knowing, all kinds of suffering comes to us.
Right? Whatever we do, whatever we mistakes, we have problems because without knowing. If you think we know that, if you don't knowing, then we have no problem. Right? Therefore, the main cause of suffering is the unknowing. Correct?
Yeah, ignorance.
Ignorance, unknowing, ignorance. We have to get out of this. First you have to identify suffering. Secondly, you have to abandon a cause of the suffering. Abandon. What is the cause? Cause is the ignorance. Like first we have to find, we have to know, I'm sick. Then you have to get up.
We have to make the root of this sickness decrease. We have to make it disappear. Mebaso. Yeah.
다 대체할 텐데 너도 따지. 야, 대리 나사한테 다 둥아 대 빠와 이거도 요 말에 하고서. 사람들이 요래 둥아 빠와 오빠 요래 와서. 대도 둥아 빠와 요래서네. 빠와 탑시죠 그래서.
So then after that, we have to look for whether or not it's possible to actually get rid of the suffering, get rid of the source of the suffering, and then identify the method whereby that's done. Method. Top? Did you say top? Gokden.
Yeah.
So this one, like whether or not it's possible to get rid of the suffering is included under the truth of cessation. Right. Gokden. Meaning Gokdengi tunda pare. Gokdengi tunda di
빠와.
yeah.
빠와.
So yeah, whether or not we can get rid of is called the answer to that question anyway is the truth of cessation.
다 된디 빠와를 탑시. 매가나 다 람람람을
And then the method or the technique by which you get rid of the source of the suffering is actually the medicine, which is the path.
Okay.
So
다 로로 제가 텐데 말이 받은 명어서네 오빠 통그레스.
path kind of
람.
And then what did you say?
람 냠내 제가 텐데 아니 말이 받은 명어서 그래서.
So in dependence on practicing, taking up the practice of the path, then we cause the ignorance to decrease and disappear.
And then
on the independence, on the disappearance, the waning of ignorance, then we attain cessation of suffering. Yeah. And then there is no more sickness, there is no more suffering.
Okay.
So then we have to first of all recognize that we have a sickness, and then second we have to identify the cause of the sickness, and then third we have to get the medicine, or isn't the third one?
You have to find
so whether or not there is a way to get rid of it, right? Yeah. And then we have to actually take the medicine that gets rid of it. So
very similar. Similar, we have one personal sick and without Four Noble Truths, very similar. Correct?
Yeah.
Is correct?
Everybody understood, right?
Understand? Okay, I like that. Then we have to think about more Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is very important. Because study or practice now to enter enlightenment.
So you can practice this until you achieve enlightenment.
Okay, that's not the.
So today we're studying the wheel weapon. So the wheel weapon text is about karma and cause and effect. So then when we have suffering now, and we ask ourselves, why is it I'm having this misery today? Then we can look at it as the karma turning back on us like a wheel. Rubber band. Like a rubber band.
Yeah.
Slapping you in the face when you're trying to hit someone else with it. So the thing that you throw out over there, that comes back and strikes you yourself, is the point.
Oh,
so we are on the 15th verse of the text. Kanyang Madakyu.
Yeah. 단디 가라방도 먼저 동하나 샘지 동하다 리지 동하는 소원했어. 동하나. 샘바티 보면다 일부대 보면 이유로.
So there's like two types of suffering in general. There's the mental type of suffering when you're mentally unhappy, and physical type of suffering where you're physically, sick and don't feel good.
다 대, 샘바티 보면 가져 연구해서 나도는 미카지 가디나 나왔죠. 미카지 가디나 샘바티 보면 연구가. 미카지? 가디나 나왔죠. happy person.
Yeah.
미카지 가디나 unhappy person.
Yeah.
It's happening, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You guys got it, right?
It's got it, right?
No, I'm kidding. Sometimes we observe that there are people who are generally, have a happy personality, and then other people who have a generally kind of unhappy personality. It happens that we see different types of people like that.
Right. Then we say, okay, what's going wrong? Some person always happy, some person not always unhappy. And you are happy as physical happy and mental happy. Good?
Mm-hmm.
You put the bottom, some person
I mean, we usually don't say happy for physically.
We don't say that.
We'll just say well. You know,
Well.
physically well and mentally happy. Yeah. Or just physically and mentally well. It's
Yeah.
fine also.
Okay, all right, that's good. Then we say, whatever you're mentally not well, not happy, the cause is that is when maybe peace, love, either one time you like, you make for others mind unhappy. Good?
Did I
Me shimbe simba.
So when you are mentally unhappy, you can think of it as it means that in some previous time, in another life, you made some other person mentally unhappy.
Okay? Then 지역은 대화다 전화가 synchronous. Then 대화대.
Yeah. So in relation to that previous action that you did, then the wheel is coming back to you. The Tsunjakoloro. Yeah, this is the, yeah. I think Tsunjakolo is like from Indian mythology or something. The gods in India have this wheel that they can hurl, and it goes out and kills everybody they wanted to kill, and then rolls back and they hold it again. But in this text, I think the author, the Indian author, is imagining that as like, you know, your actions you hurl out there, and then it comes rolling back and slices you up. So anyway.
I think we call this name Kolo.
Yeah.
It's a round.
Yeah, wheel.
We go to here, you know, the round, they all come back here like that.
Yeah, yeah.
What in the patient dibula, that patient dibula to labulus, Shulaka can not say the work. Chang the same to Mevati, Chang Humas, Mission, Sembala, Gangi to the Tindables, patient dibula labulus.
So this text has said already before, like whenever your own mind is kind of unhappy, this is the result. This is like the result of your own actions turning back on you.
But whatever it be, never think that we say, oh, he makes me unhappy, he makes me unhappy, they makes me unhappy. They always complain to others, right? The real, the text said it's not others, it's you did. But for us, really difficult to accept that, right? Are you guys accept? I don't think so. No. Always we have excuse, right? Oh, I do very good things, but no. Like that, the text said. Then whatever your physical not well, is also you did previous life, you did others' physical body.
You harmed others.
You harm others' body. Therefore, now this karma come back for you. Because you create the karma, then you have to,
Yeah. So then, because you
create the cause.
yeah, you sowed the seed in a way, so you have to reap the fruits. I mean. Yeah. So this is what this text is teaching, and there's a lot of, you know, much more of that coming. So then we are starting on the 15th verse, which reads, "When I am reborn into an impure land, it is the weapon of my own evil deeds turned upon me for always cultivating impure vision. From now on I shall cultivate only pure vision."
We don't sometimes we don't want to see, we don't want to hear, we don't want, you know, we see some others' actions, always bad things.
Yeah, so the impure vision that is referred in this verse is, well, he said in English, but do you want me to repeat?
Yes.
Okay. So the impure vision that's mentioned in this verse is like when we look at other people and we always see what's wrong with them. You know, you look outside and you see always everything wrong with this person or that person and the bad thing that they do, and you don't see it about yourself.
It can happen, you guys. Always see something wrong, this person, something wrong with her, something wrong with him. We have seen that. But then Mabu, Mabu was. See, you want to consider it, huh?
Yeah, this appearance, these types of appearance happen a lot to us. We see a lot of appearances like this.
어디 땅은 배전하는 로그인 같은 거. 디토너스 마더웨이 되지 제데스. 내가 나는 사자들은 나사 뭐요 봐. 마음부터 보여 봐. 아니 딱 사자가 까면 뭐 보여 봐. 또 가서 만데. 아주 만데야. 만데 가서. 너다 안 좋아하네. 근데 만데야 내가 뭐도 이모데가 돼서 뭐야 돼. 가르치는 데서나.
So this is like, do you guys have the commentary? Or do you guys just have the text?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm not the only one without the commentary. So he's saying that the commentary to the text is saying that the appearances, these impure appearances, are things like always seeing outside wars and what else did you say? Mambo and yeah, wars and killing and violence and generally all of the types of things that are undesirable, that you don't want to see, or when you see them you dislike seeing them. Those are the types of things that you see, right? Lots of harm. Yeah, very few opportunities or instances of like total ease or happiness. Yeah, we have a lot. Actually, we ourselves have a lot of opportunity for ease and happiness. So milam. So we see with our eyes, though. We can see with our eyes a lot of these other types of situations, and also we hear with our ears about those types of situations. So.
What's the main cost?
Right. Yeah. You guys understood that? That was English, the last part.
When people life, wherever you born, where you stay place. And then there is that's also trouble. And the gang to the mambo to Zolaya, Dana Mazaba. To Zola, that's your maybe over this.
Danga, yeah. Their advice to get in and propose Danga.
Not Dana.
Can I see this?
Dagota. Mata no whatever. And Dana. Dana.
Alele. Yeah.
Tapa Yaborwa.
Yeah.
Nawa. It is Dagana Yabonawa.
So Dagnan, he's talking about now the opposite of the impure appearance, which is the pure appearance. Or the pure, in this text it says pure vision. I don't know, what translation do you guys have? It says pure vision. Yeah. So the pure vision is like things like seeing the teacher and the good friends and the gegen, chopo. So other, basically seeing like teachers who you respect, who are virtuous people, your good friends, and people of that sort. When you see other sentient beings that are good, this is the pure vision. So, so then we don't see them as pure, right? So we see the faults.
Always see faults.
So then even those people exist and appear, but then we still don't see them that way. We still see like, oh, he has this fault and she has that fault and they do this wrong and he does that wrong. So that's the impure vision, right?
Yeah.
I have a commentary by Geshe Tenley.
What they say?
Well, this commentary.
I thought this was really awesome. I'll just read this.
Yeah.
Henceforth we should contemplate everything as stainless and pure. Once we begin to criticize others, we shall never find an end to their faults. If we have an enemy, a correct perception is to think that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have emanated as such a being to exhaust the fruit of our evil karma.
The same word.
This one's different.
Yeah, it's a little more
different.
Yeah, I have that one. I have the one that you have. Anyway,
Today
it's okay. Let's listen to Geshe.
is a today 깨워 가마 깨워 가마 비비드라 today 가지고 개개다 조보다 조모 차상을 껴장장 껴 always looking for their faults
Yeah.
for them
네. 단다 나서.
단다는 거 떼야 무슨 그래서
네. So then Geshe is explaining that actually the result of having the appearance of like all of the impure visions, so like seeing wars and crime and violence and hearing these things that are really unpleasant, when those things come up in your life, actually the cause of those is in a previous life when the pure vision was there in front of you, the pure thing to see, like the teachers and virtuous friends and whatever. Then at that time you were seeing like, oh, he's got this problem and she's got that problem, and picking out the faults. And now the wheel is coming back around in this life, and then you hear ugly things, like, and you see unpleasant things. This is the impure vision, and the source is picking out like impure things in something that's pure in a previous life, particularly I think in relation to teachers and virtuous people.
Yeah, okay. For example, now you guys go to work, right? Everybody have a job, right? It's very honest for us. When you go to work, you can see everybody has fault. You can see, oh, maybe she's very angry.
At a job, is that what you said? At a job?
You go to job,
Yeah.
co-workers, maybe 5, 10 people work together. Maybe 20 people work one company. You always see, oh, it's good that, but he had that fault. She's good, but she did that. You always find the faults. But we maybe count which one better. We say, oh, see the good things are better. Most we see faults. We say, oh yeah, she's very angry person. He has very strong ego. You know, we always said that. 근데 깨워 남아요. 깨워 남아요. 나도 들이짜잖아 쟤네. 다 깨워내는 것도 누가 진짜 반대로 좋아요.
So then this is the result. 양계로 쓰나? 맞어.
나도 깨워
세디라 맞어. 내가 나한테 미킨디라.
때때때때로 깨워 남았더니 뭐 쟤네.
네. So this is like an illustration, like the situation that we have in our daily life today, where we go to work and like we all see the bad habits that other people have so clearly. This is exactly like what we were doing in previous lives, which has caused now in this life us to see unpleasant things and hear unpleasant things, to have impure like things that appear to us. I don't know. Vision sounds like more from our side. No, it's more like appearance. So things that appear to you that are impure or unpleasant, they come from that type of action in previous lives, which we all still do now. So we haven't obviously learned it yet.
당당하죠. 뭐야? 네가 막 조보, 네 양보 만나 자동 조보 양보 그거도 와. 자동 요금도 와. 대가도 만들고 누가도 와. It's soften that.
So we all want to have good friends, or we all need to have good friends, virtuous friends. But then when they don't come, when we don't find them, this is like miserable.
This is driven.
Oh, Jibu, this is the fruit, this suffering of not being able to find them. 이야기할 수 없나? 맞아, 저거 상고 그.
배는 먼저 미쿠로 사원님도 대학 가오면 와. 고로 사원 나도 사원. 너도 사원님도 대학 가서 가오면 와. This is soften that. This soften.
Yeah.
The cause is really the previous life. In previous life, you're always looking for faults. Always looking to get the faults. Then you create that negative karma. Now you have found always fault people. You don't get good person. You always find, oh, she's terrible, he's terrible. You always
is that clear for you? So he's saying like we don't like when people are angry toward us or show us an ugly face or show us, behavior that's like unpleasant. But this is the result of previous lives always finding the thing that's wrong in other people, always picking out like the worst things,
근데 제가 너무 많이 만나 밑에서 쥐었다 연대니가 나도 쥐어마도 연대 토고요 말했어.
쥐었다 연대.
위에 쥐었다 연대 인자요 그랬어. 나도 마셔리 쥐마도 연대 나도 마셔리 토고 말해.
연결수나
쥐마도. We only see the force.
Yeah.
We don't see much the good.
Yeah. So of course everybody has good points and bad points.
Yeah.
But in general we tend to only see the bad points.
Right? Oh, yeah, bad points. 근데 난 기왕 넘어들이 장장 세다운다 다 세달라야 소설라야. 근데 그 그래. 교육이 미장장 로바 투요. 가고서 we previous life, we always pick up the false people, people's faults.
Yeah.
Therefore, now this life also, we always meet
the
the
people who have those faults.
Those kind of faults. Correct?
Yeah.
Because we don't want those kind of people to walk that.
Yeah.
No one wants the bad. It's softening. This softening. This duma.
Yeah.
We do duma than one. We don't want to get always walk with very angry with people, very jealous people, or very unhappy people. We need to very happy people that, but where we walk, not all of them that. We have unhappy people, honest people. Those what happened? Why happened for me this? But this is the previous time. You always pick up the faults. Now this karma again come you. You really create that karma. Now you again always find those kind of people. Good?
Yeah, I understand. Can I ask a question? So does it mean that the people, okay, so in previous lives, because we always singled out the bad traits of people and tend to overlook the good traits that people have, then in this life we keep encountering people who have all those bad traits, right? We meet people who have the bad traits that we picked out in the previous life, right?
Yeah.
So does it mean that it's our own habit to see the bad trait more clearly? Or does it mean that the people really are worse?
People know what's the bad. For our that happened.
Yeah, our habit. So it's like this kind of karma is like
karma.
I forget the name of this karma. There's a karma that's like similar to the cause, right?
Yeah.
Actually similar to the cause.
Yeah.
Actually similar to
So is this the type of karma, like previous life you always see the bad things about people? Yeah, and now in this life you see it easier, even only bad things you see by habit, kind of.
Also, but it happened for you.
Oh, but it also happens.
Yeah. Also, people see you all the bad things also.
Yeah.
Not only just you see people, also people always see you bad things. Because you always see bad things. People don't know about karma. Now people can see you also very bad. There are two kinds of them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can you make a little more
clear? No. He's very clear, isn't he?
Well, yeah, so you're saying you create the karma to see those people, and it is your karma to see that, right?
So, yeah.
In those two. Okay.
So I think he's saying like, because the example of what counts as the impure appearances includes not only people with bad traits, but also things like war, and violence. And I think those things, it's not like you're projecting somebody killing someone else, like there really is a murderer or bombs dropping. So it's like divided. In one way, you have the propensity, I think, to see the worst in people, because you picked out the bad traits of people in previous lives, and then second of all, you encounter the ugly things that you singled out before you actually encountered that. So
I don't know, maybe that's a little bit confused.
let's fix it.
Yeah, what is the question? Give me the question, then we'll make it work.
This makes perfect sense to me, especially on a personal level. Like work is a good example. But at the same time, what about on a global level? Like when I look at the world, it seems like wars are increasing, governments are getting worse, things are becoming more corrupt. Isn't it
Yeah, this is
also
good.
isn't it also degenerate times that we're in that makes it that not just our own individual karma, but it's a degenerate era as well?
You do.
Humility. You don't want to is fault also. It's not our fault, it's because the generation was a degenerate time.
Yeah.
Let's
right.
see.
But this is correct, problem for the government, problem for the country, problem for the all things. They all happen for us in the north because we always looking for the other faults. Dharma
Dharma, like pure appearances.
Appearance.
Yeah.
Of course, there are a lot of appearance, good things that we never saw, we never think about the good things. Always look for things.
Yeah.
Therefore, now, this time, we all also feel all the bad things. Also, people can see us also very bad things. Correct?
Yeah.
Feeling there's a little bit more,
Yeah, I mean, that's the same, I think, yeah.
a little bit more makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too, though, that also people see the bad things the things we singled out in other people before people now see in us, so.
Yeah, therefore, we have more enemies. Then we have, we lost also more friends. Like that. Anyway, the main point is, the text main point is what they talk about it. They give the message for us. Don't look for all the time others' faults. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Because people have good and bad both have. If you're looking for all the time bad things, you always feel bad things. Even you can see your teacher, your parents, we say no, nothing over. And you're looking for the faults. You always find the faults. Right?
Yeah, so in general.
This is general, this is not
Yeah.
just Buddha's teaching.
Yeah, so yeah, it's true. Yeah, this is like a common sense. I mean, we have even some kind of idiomatic phrase. So, yeah. So if you look for faults, then you always see faults.
근데 이제 같이 단지 빼자니 된다 조금 껴주는 마다 don't look for the faults.
Yeah, yeah. Don't look for the faults, basically.
Also, especially you don't look for your teacher and your parents.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Parents is for our best or respect person and best to merit.
Yeah, right.
The teachers are you the person or you person they lead you on the good way. Talk to good way. But you always looking for the faults, then you can find teachers have also a lot of faults. Even now we are looking for example here. Right now our case is called the Dalai Lamas, our guru, real Buddha. But some people find a lot of faults here. There's no fault from the existence from himself. They person looking for them. They bring them more faults. Right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
들리다 선진 번쩍을 껴 매와 있나. 먼저 껴면 따라 껴 동그래서. Even they have no faults.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're looking for the way of faults, we always find fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. If you're looking for faults, you will see them. Yeah.
Therefore, when we was in monastery, they always teach it for us, When you go to teaching, puja, all the monks stay like this, right? Then you're looking for oh yeah, this monk has something wrong. Oh, yes, something wrong. You can, what is that? Both sides, you start there to go end. You find all the faults. And who's not fault? Just find you. I said, perfect person to me. You know, the right we say, if you find, oh, here's something, here's something, here's something, here's something, then who does that? It's just me. They always say, don't look like that. If you look that, then you don't find any, what call it? Yunten. Yeah, any yunten.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're looking, if you're looking for the bad faults in somebody, you don't ever see their qualities.
Then what? Why? What's matter? If I don't see any qualities, what's matter for me? They don't matter. I'm the me, them. And they say, no. If you don't find any qualities, you don't get any lojo, good things from you. You cannot learn any good things to learn from them.
Lojong.
Yeah, lojo.
Lojong. Yeah, you can learn.
You can learn anything from them because you follow all the time. You can find all the faults. Therefore, this is a cause for you. You lose your opportunity. Therefore, don't look for all the time. Correct?
Right, yeah.
But then, so let's say if somebody like stole my car and I see this happen, what is the remedy?
Online, yeah, this kind, yeah, of course. When this out, don't do 100% now.
No, but in principle, like, what would be the remedy? Do you see it? Oh no, my car isn't really stolen. It's the Buddha testing me to like. I should see this guy as the Buddha, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Get your car back.
I don't think
No,
so.
I mean in the principle, when you meet with the bad qualities, how should you view them? You know.
근데 미 응은의 기운이요나. 근데 응은의 기운 여기 미 근데 전에 근데 가르치거리.
응원이 저는 응원이 뭐요 말했어.
응은의 근데 구마
그마도 요모고 생각도 그랬어.
So like
yeah.
So it's like nobody really you can't equate the faults of people with the person. So in a way, you have to look at the thief as being under the influence of afflictions. Afflictions are the real fault. I mean, he's just a guy. So if the afflictions don't have control of him, he would be just like anyone else. And then same for you and me. I mean, it's just like different degrees of how much the afflictions are afflicting us or whatever. Yeah, so he has that particular people like thieves, for example, are completely under the sway of like intense greed or attachment or something. They gotta have the thing, so they just steal it. Yeah. So this is like Shenwang, right? You know Shenwang. So Shenwang is like being what's the word for that? Hang on.
Powerless?
Control of
it's not powerless. It's under the sway of something else. Like so, it's like something else has the control over you. So the person, it's like in Shantideva's Bodhicharya Avatar, the person who punches you or hits you with the stick, you don't get mad at the stick, right? You get mad at the person wielding the stick. In the same way, the person who does harm to you is an instrument being wielded by affliction. So in that sense, you kind of displace the blame away from an inherent person. It's not like you really identify the person completely with the action that they do.
Do you understand this? Not that kind of thing. What to do? I give them my card, and just stay there. Now you angry with them, this doesn't work, nothing good. You make more negative karma. You have more patience. Those poor guy is what we call control the ignorance.
Yeah.
Attachment. And for them you have to patient them. And you get more, what we call merit.
Yeah.
You can get more merit. Like, I don't know the merit, you can then.
Yeah.
You better to don't angry.
Yeah.
Just talk them, don't steal my car.
Yeah.
But you don't try to don't angry. Because you're not angry, because he controlled that ignorance. Not person's fault, it's ignorance fault. Correct? You know, Shantideva said, that stick hit you. Are you angry, stick or you're the person? Because you're angry, you hit, you hurt here, you hit here. Because person not here, I'm not touching person. The mala is there, right? Shantideva said. Then he said, oh no, this stick has not power, won't you?
Yeah. The stick is powerless.
Powerless, because the person. There's a person has no power, person is control the delusion. Like that, who is stealing your car, it's not the person's problem, the person has control the delusions. Then we have patience for them, for the person. 그건 이제 적었어. 오늘 딱 오늘 냠내 바이나 이제 적었어. 나도 냠내 이제 제도 뭐 고맙고 많이 없었어.
Yeah. So if we are practicing, then we have to generate compassion for those types of people. If we're not practicing, then maybe we just punch them and go to jail. I love Buddhism. he said in his thing, he said, like, if someone's stealing your car, this is a good opportunity to practice patience. I just feel like that's such a great attitude. You don't want them to steal your car, but at the same time, it's like, what choice do you have? This situation is happening. You have to deal with it. Call the police or whatever. But also, you can look at it positively, like, hey, without this kind of thing, how can you ever really try out if you can be patient or not? So.
Okay. Anyway, like that. Okay.
Yes,
then, you said something.
You said it.
Yeah.
But so, just to follow up with that, to be clear, so it's like if someone's stealing the car, to stand there and do nothing, you're not really helping them either. It seems like it's a bit of a skillful means thing in terms of how to handle a situation like that. Do you see what I'm saying?
How you say?
Did you follow me at all, Andy?
They kumashigla the moda kuna the nekirang. If you do nothing, if you do nothing, that's not really helpful.
You're kind of siding with them a little bit, almost.
Yeah.
No, you can do.
Yeah.
But without angry.
Yeah.
So a good motivation.
You can
you have. I mean, it's like you have to use common sense. I think.
Yeah, of course.
You need to do something. I mean, if he's brandishing a weapon, maybe don't do anything.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's a skillful means situation depending on what's going on there. Yeah. Rather than to do what we would maybe in our completely whacked out deluded mind would be to react, either like scream or throw rocks or really, really uber negative actions. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think he meant to advocate not doing anything, but to be sensible and to keep your wits. So when that happens, you can lose your cool. Like that. If someone was stealing my car, I don't have a car, so I don't have to worry about it. But if someone was stealing my car, I might lose it. Screaming and yelling at me.
Exactly, you lose,
Right.
Even someone tell my mala, I will get angry. But the reality is, the person has no choice. They control the ignorance, right?
Yeah.
If we are thinking that we are not pleased to angry, but who we angry? We angry to ignorant. Shantideva said, if you angry the stick, because stick hit you. They are not, but stick has no power because the delusion, the person. The person has no power, the delusion, This is wrong, then Shantideva is wrong. We say Shantideva. No correct, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not saying don't do anything, okay? Even someone steals your car, I hope not, Then, during that time, if you get angry, there's nothing benefit. Because they take your peace or your, Susudeva.
They take your own peace of mind away.
But he really took. Not better to without angry, then you can deal. You want to call police or you want to call, example like that. You not say, you can give up, just whatever they do, just give. You don't say that. Then, because you're not, control sayag jumse yo maris.
Yeah,
person has not choice to control the delusion. This is the best way to be patient at that time.
Yeah.
Otherwise we cannot patient. We say, why I'm the patient? Because he stole my car. How can I do patient with him?
Yeah.
Usually we like that, right? Wow. I'm not crazy. Someone took my car. I just stay there patient. This is not right away we think that, right? But you really think this person has not choice, the delusions. Also you get angry, it doesn't mix you with the fix. It's really true. Then better to be patient. I hope any other sensory beings are like that. They control the delusions, they look the take the order other things. It's stealing, right? Stealing, that's stealing, right? That can be a motivation. Then you can talk, you can call, please. Sometimes always say, when you want to fight other person, without angry, then you can beat very good place. When you get angry, you just hit it. This country maybe not hit this country, right? No.
Yeah.
This country is not possible, but in Tibetan, in India, they use the shoes. The women's shoes, they beat the men's. The Tibetan, this is the men people can shoot. But then it's always something they job. When you have something fight, something wrong, with that time, don't fight. Otherwise you want to hit that, you cannot hit the right place. So you get very angry, you are just exhausted.
Yeah.
Then you just calm down. Then you go to explain. That doesn't you can hit the right place. Like that, without angry you can talk, you can more explain, right? Without angry, then whatever we do, things go right place, or right way. When we get angry, we do something always. We think people that taught you that they go to the wrong direction, say bad things. Like that, the reason is now the men, and
So then the principal point of this verse is basically not to search for the faults in other people. Yeah. So then if you're not searching for faults, you will tend not to see them.
If you see all the faults, also then that time you cannot control your
Pride.
pride.
You guys get it? So when you continually see the faults in other people, it becomes really difficult to control your own pride. It starts raising your own esteem of yourself. Like, if they're so horrible, you must be awesome. So. So then a lot of opportunities will come up for us to
You lost the opportunities.
So I think I missed the beginning of the sentence.
You lose a lot of opportunities
In this life.
in life. Then Himalaya, Susola, Tindiga Nova, you two mission because Suso, Yan to Chatwa, and Susu Palaya to Chatinatwa, Kadina Tamanduva.
I don't know.
You know.
So if you
do that,
yeah,
this life
you
also
lose the
lose
opportunity.
a lot of
And
opportunities.
then in future life again you
Future
see.
life, again, people can see you are all the bad person. Also, you can also see again all the bad quality things. Like that, the mixing up,
Yeah.
always that.
Yeah. So you guys got it. Basically, he's saying like if you're looking for the faults in people in this life, then again you're losing the opportunity to avoid that. And so in future lives, you will see faults everywhere, and again people will see a lot of faults in you. So.
For example, who took the initiations, maybe you have the more experience. When you go to initiations, one.
Initiation.
Initiations. they always, the teachers explain for us. Now you think about this place, this all full, Jaika.
Shayekang, yeah, this is like a Shayekang, the crystal palace, like an expanse, like a divine palace.
You have to think about that, we always. When they say, this is big, what we call it? Nenga Chimbo is.
Nenga?
Nenga Chimbo.
I don't know, Nenga? Nenga?
No Nenga.
Nenga?
Yeah.
Nenga?
Kechimbo.
It's important.
Maybe it's too what we call it?
Too simple.
Too simple.
Yeah, simple words. That's what I can understand. Dana, yeah. You have to have, when you do the initiation, this pure appearance, like pure vision that they're talking about here, is it is a major element of initiations. Like, you have to really have it in order to receive the initiation. So you have to imagine that you are in like the divine palace of the God who you are being initiated to, and that the guru is the deity, right?
Yeah.
So. So then if we have this kind of habit of always seeing like the bad qualities and everything, then how can we see, we will just see like all the bad things. We won't be able to see.
That time what we think. This is that time we are thinking. This is my own problem.
So then, because at that time, if we have some difficulty to see the pure appearance, to really have the pure vision that you're supposed to have for the initiation, then you have to think, this is due to my own shortcomings in a way. This isn't I can't see clearly the way things really are because I have my own problem of seeing faults in everything. 바바토메기 가르띠
into meditation 12 years.
Yeah.
You can tell them to that story.
Okay. He's doing the shorthand, which is like, that story? Tell him that story. So you guys probably already know the story.
I think they really know that.
Asanga, you guys know the story about Arya Asanga? Anyway, he was a famous Indian pundit who wanted to have a vision. He wanted to meet Maitreya face to face. So he embarked on like this retreat where he meditated continuously in a cave for 3 years, I think. Yeah. And then after 3 years, he got frustrated because he didn't see Maitreya. So he said, to hell with this, and he went out of the cave. And then when he went out, he saw like drops of water falling from a ledge onto a stone. And over the years of this drop of water falling, it had worn like a pit into the surface of the stone where water was collecting. And he thought, okay, like if a little drop of water can achieve that, then I should just keep going. So he went back in and did 3 more years, and then again he got frustrated and said to hell with it and went outside. And then that time he saw like sparrows had nested between 2 rocks, on the cliff. And every time they flew into their nest, the tips of their wings would brush against the rocks on either side. So over the years, the tips of their wings had worn grooves like into the rock there from continuously flying in and out. So he thought again, okay, all right, you just have to keep going. So he went back in and kept going. And then again after 3 years, he thought, okay, so this is hopeless. So he went out. And then he met an old man who was sitting on the ground with a big iron bar and a small piece of cotton, like rubbing it. And he said, what are you doing? And the guy said, I'm making a needle. like rub this thing away until it's like a needle. So he thought, all right, he has determination, so I should too. So he went back in. And then after 3 years, he finally was like, really at his wit's end, so he left. And then when he was going down the mountain, he found a dog that had been injured. It had it was still alive, but it had a big gaping wound, and the wound was filled with maggots. So he thought wow, this poor pitiful thing, I should do something. And then he thought, okay, I'll just take all these maggots out. But then he thought, well, but my fingers are so rough and the maggots are so small and soft, if I put my fingers on them, I'll just squish them and then they'll die, so I don't want to kill them. And then also if I take them off, they need something to eat, so I don't want to take their food away. So he, like being a good bodhisattva, carved off a chunk of his leg, some meat, and laid it out there. And then he decided I'll remove them with my tongue, because that's soft, and then I can just like lick them one by one and place them on this meat. And so he, kind of a little bit disgusted, closed his eyes before he put his mouth on the maggot. And then there was nothing there. And when he opened his eyes, Maitreya was there. And then he said, what the hell? Like, I've been in this cave for 12 years. Like, where have you been? And then he told them, I was there always with you. I was like the drops of water and the birds in the cliff and the guy with the iron and the dog. Like, all of it was me, but because of your impure vision, like, you could not see me for what I was. So... Anyway, so the point is you have to have the pure vision.
Yeah, this is not the material form.
Right, yeah.
Because his form.
Yeah, so there was nothing Maitreya could have done anyway until Sangha had cleared away the impediments to being able to see him. There's really nothing he could do. And the same for us, like, this is a popular story to just say Buddha could be anywhere, you just don't know.
Anyway, now this is the main thing, is that don't looking for all the faults others. This is the main thing. Try to look at qualities. If you think all the time faults, you think this is not their fault, this is my fault. My ignorance, my
pride.
My pride, see the all the time. Then try to that always blame yourself also. It's better to not create the new karma, the bad karma, then try to not leave the others go down.
Right.
Go down. Okay? Like that from the previous killing or maybe not killing. This is a really real, meaningful, very important teaching.
Yeah.
Then we have to think about what has happened, things, a lot of details, importance here. But just we say, I don't get to, this not make sense, this makes sense, not like that. How to live by thinking, anyway. Main things, don't look at other force all the time. If you're looking for the other force, you always find force. And you don't get any qualities. The special also there is that you don't look at your teachers, you force.
Yeah.
You teachers, you look at all the force, you can find the force. Then you find force, then you have maybe wrong view one day, maybe my teacher's not right, maybe something wrong here. You have a wrong view. Then you get very big negative karma. Therefore, they say don't look that. Because you get Susugi, you get Chomra. I don't know how you say it. This is if you see someone really false, but they don't harm them, you lost your lot. For some goals or your opportunities for your goals. Therefore, try to don't look at others' faults. If you see the faults, you say, this is also control the delusions. The delusions mean that, you can say, it's my fault because I'm the very, jewel of the delusions. Can you say?
Yeah. He said, I'm the jewel of the delusions, or like the notebook. Is this like Yishingi notebook?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all
there's a jewel. There's another Indian mythological thing. There's a jewel that whatever you wish will happen. So in this case, he's saying you have to be careful, otherwise you become the wish-fulfilling jewel of the delusions. So whatever delusion thinks of, just gonna happen.
Okay, like that. The main thing is don't looking for others' faults all the time. If you think you saw them, then try to don't angry. You can also explain, talk nicely, If it's feasible, nothing to angry. If not feasible, nothing to be said. You said angry doesn't matter, it's not fixed. If you fix, doesn't matter you angry, not they will fix. Nothing way to angry.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a famous verse. You guys know the verse from Shantideva. If there's something you can do to resolve whatever the problem is, there's no point to get upset over it. Just do it. If there's nothing you can do, there's also no point to get upset over it. Like there's nothing you can do. So in both cases, there's no point to get angry.
Okay, like that. Then if like that, you can see the force, the Lord, the Miradaba, the Marba, very bad things.
Yeah.
You see all the bad things. Whenever the force is coming, it's not just very just guide.
Yeah.
Like that. Anyway, there are a lot of stories that we don't want to go through. Okay, then we can stop here. Then you have any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Just want to, so the point of this verse is to not dwell on faults, because sometimes somebody who does try to look positively at other people, they might be aware of someone else's faults, aware of their bad habits with interacting with them, but they don't look at them in a negative way. They're just, they try not to dwell on them. So is that the point of the verse, not to dwell on the faults? Because some people do have faults and bad habits, but our responsibility is not to dwell on them.
Not to look, not to check the faults. What is it?
Not to dwell on it.
Dwell on what?
Like never, semlane. 그냥 그런
Keep them out.
미신의 균 터나 그냥 균대가 양양.
Yeah. Don't think it.
Yeah.
If you think that, then you meditation there. More. Then you can find more.
이 직디 저 관리디 균 다나 균 동이, right? 세네 균마다. Yeah. So he said specifically though, the point of the verse is like, if you look for faults, you will see them.
Yeah.
So don't look for faults. So it's besides not dwelling on them, it's like, don't bother. Like it's that mental thing where you look for the thing that's wrong with other people.
Yeah, you want to find it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you interact with people, you can't help it. You notice it.
Yeah, I mean, that's habit. That's what he was saying. That's like your karma from previous life.
Is it possible that if you do see a fault in somebody, you can have compassion for them because you know they might have that fault?
그는 미생이 균 도나 그는 인제 최고랬어.
Oh, this is best.
Yeah.
This is best. This is best. That time you have Ninja, this is best. Okay, then we stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you very much. But study this book, read again. Think more. Read the commentaries. Usually that one text has many different commentaries, but many teachers different understand, different experience.
Yeah.
And also you can check what constitutes that. Then you can debate that. And two different things you can see, then you also more understand. Because one mix and that, and it's good. They will try to read the commentary, read text, then thinking, then doing the big meaningful questions. And very good. Okay? Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
I become Spanish.